Scram, McFly. We're checking out the Scene Snobs.
Have you and your furry best friend ever been bored? We have a cure for that. Get your subscription box with our affiliate link now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Scene Snobs Reviews. I'm your host, Mick Manhattan, and we are reviewing Mr. Harrigan's Phone today. It is the new Netflix movie that just came out yesterday. It stars Jaden Martell, Donald Sutherland. It was directed by John Lee Hancock, and it's based off of a Stephen King short story from 2020. If It Bleeds is the book, the collection that had the story in it, and it's titled the same, Mr. Harrigan's Phone. So, as always, if you guys have any comments, please comment along as we go. That's why we do this live, so we can hear your reaction if you've seen it, or whatever feelings you're having at the moment. And I will read them off at the end. We can engage in conversation then. So the movie, to start off with, is about a young man, a boy actually at the beginning of it, throughout his life into adulthood, Craig, played by Jaden Martell. He is hired by an elderly billionaire played by Donald Sutherland in his small town up in Maine to read to him because his eyesight's starting to go. So he reads books to him, and he does this from when he's, I'd say, about 7 or 8. He's a avid reader, and he does really well, especially speaking. So he takes this job on 3 days a week to read to this man, Mr. Harrigan, and it goes throughout high school, and they form this bond. They become friends. Mr. Harrigan is known more recluse these days because he is he's a billionaire, but he's supposedly a very ruthless person. But we get to see him from the perspective of Craig, where they're bonding, and there's more of a connection, so we learn more about him that way. It's very interesting because it turns into, as Craig gets older, it seems to start in the 90s, and then when Craig enters high school, it's the time when like the first smartphone, first iPhone and such came out. And when it came out, he got one as a gift and from his father, and he's a kid. Kid just got a cell phone, and a smartphone's brand new. It's a new iPhone. It's something different. So he actually wins some money off of a lottery ticket given to him by Mr. Harrigan, which is his gift he gets all the time. And when he wins some money, he buys Mr. Harrigan a phone, so that way he can have one and he can do his stock, look through his stock, stuff like that. And they start to bond through the phones at that point. And they call each other. They've become friends over all of these years. And then Mr. Harrigan passes away. And after Mr. Harrigan passes away, he slips his phone, Harrigan's phone, into his pocket. And then Craig starts receiving, messages and calls from Mr. Harrigan's phone. And it becomes very much in the vein of a Stephen King type of story, with some horror elements to it. And I'm not going to spoil anything or put anything else out there. I will get into the movie and how I feel about it in a minute, but that is the story. It's very familiar in tone and very familiar in a lot of ways of like things you might have seen on Black Mirror or Twilight Zone, things like that. So when it's reminiscent of that, it's hard to kind of detach yourself from it. And when it came to this movie and watching it, I was like, all right, but we got to remember Stephen King doing it. He's going to have his twist. So when I went into it, I think most people who watch a movie, if they compare it automatically before they even watch it to something else, they're turning something on, and it automatically is points deducted from the movie experience. So I tried to turn that off. I was like, all right, I just want to watch this. I know it's a familiar story. I just want to watch it and see what this familiar story does with it. And, I went into it that way. And overall, I ended up really liking it and enjoying what they do. And I like the best part about this movie And I've not read the short story, so I cannot say if it reads the same, but Stephen King's a great writer, so I'm sure it does. But I really enjoyed, the best part about the story is the relationships. I really enjoyed the relationships between Craig and Mr. Harrigan, Craig and his father, Craig and his teacher, Miss Hart, even Craig with his friends and the school bully and things like that. It's very well done. It's awkward, it's odd, it's different. It's got the Stephen King touch, but it's well acted, and that's what I appreciate about it. Jada Martell, if you remember him, played young Bill in the It remake that came out, so he's no stranger to Stephen King already. He did a fine job in this. Actually, I don't know the kid's name that played the younger version of him for the first while, but he did a great job as well. And I did like the relationship they built. So by the time you see Mr. Harrigan pass away, you're already, invested in like what's going to happen. How is Craig going to take this? Where is it going to go from here? What's the significance of the cell phone? How's it going to play into it? And I liked all of it. It kept me asking questions. Now, John Lee Hancock has made maybe about 10 or 11 movies, I think, in his career. And I've liked them all. They're not, and I'm not taking anything away from the man or his filmography. They're not mind-blowing movies, but they're movies that I've enjoyed, and they're character studies in a lot of ways. Like The Founder, he did a great job with Ray Kroc in that, and like The Highwaymen. I absolutely love that movie. Costner and Woody Harrelson did a fantastic job in that as well. So it's almost like a character study in like what people will do in his movies and like what were the decisions, and they stick to their characters. So this was very much the same way. He wrote and directed this, and it really worked. I liked everything about this movie in terms of character, in terms of acting. It's a beautifully shot movie. It's very cool. At times it's very serene, even when you're going through the horror elements of it, because it is a horror movie. It is. It just doesn't have the tropes of a regular horror movie. This is something I would put more in line with maybe a What Lies Beneath, something like that. A lot of people will call that thriller. I lean more towards horror because there's a supernatural element to it. So I really like this. It's a very cool, spooky kind of movie that leaves you kind of asking questions, keeping you interested, but it's very simple in story. The story is not hard to follow at all. It kind of goes through. And again, if you just accept that this is a familiar story, it's not a new groundbreaking story, and you just go into it for what it is. And simple stories in my mind are okay. I know I often complain about story and like when a story's bad, this, that, the other thing. A simple story doesn't mean that a story is bad. It just, in my opinion, it just means that a story is simple. It's not the driving force. The story should always be there. You should always have a good story with a clear beginning, middle, and end, in my opinion. But of course, surrounding it. And I'm not telling anything new to movie fans because you guys are awesome and you guys know like what you like and what you're all about. And so I don't think you can compare a familiar or simple story to a bad story. So this is a good story that's simple. You can follow it. But the characters are really the driving force here and their relationships. And that's what I liked about it. Sometimes I think you just need that with a movie. It's something different. And I've seen a few of them this year that popped up. A lot of it you see in the independent world. And I dig that as well because I like the study of character in movies, especially. So getting into it and watching this movie, I watched it late last night. And I really enjoyed it. I really did. I liked it from beginning to end. There's an agenda to it, and it's not an anti-technology agenda, but it is it does have a clear, concise message about information and cell phones and fake information and things like that, and kind of how a cell phone generation has sort of been taken over. And listen, whatever you believe aside, like, it's still a message, and I think it kind of comes across pretty clearly, and it's not slapping you in the face, and I like that. Again, they focus more on the characters, and I enjoyed that portion of it. My rating for this overall, especially because of the acting and the characters that were built in this, is a 3 out of 5. It's a little bit better than middle of the road. For me, like a 3 is a good movie that's middle of the road. You should check out. Doesn't have to be rushed out to. But 3.5 out of 5 is a little bit better, So it's one I might revisit again or check out again, or I would recommend. And I think that's the important thing there is like, would you recommend this? And because I'm reviewing it, I do recommend it to everybody. And it's crazy to me because when I look around, I try to follow like what people are saying about things, just kind of get an idea. And it seems like this is like, and Rotten Tomatoes is one I like to go with because I don't always trust the critic side of it. I think most critics like to hate things just to hate them, and because it's the fun thing to do, because they think they're being different. But the audience score there is pretty awesome. I do trust the audience. They come in, they give their opinion, and it's not really based on what everybody else is thinking. The audience score for this movie on Rotten Tomatoes is 62%, which isn't bad. And again, I think that fits that 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's one you'd recommend. It's not too bad. Go check it out. Cool little horror film, something a little bit different, not overly crazy. You can watch it with your teenagers and stuff like that. There's not, really any gore or anything to it, but pretty enjoyable watch, and it's a good introduction to Stephen King, in my opinion. So go check that out. Let me know what you think, because I would love to hear it. Let's see what's going on in the comments. Paul, what's going on, man? If I had a puppy, I would. You would. Oh, if you had a puppy, you'd do bark. Well, thank you. But if anybody does have a dog and you're looking for awesome chew toys and treats for them, please go check out our affiliate link down below for Bark Super Chewer Box. Chris is here. What's going on, buddy? This is going to be a must watch for me. I love anything Stephen King, and then I think you'll enjoy this. I think it's a good Stephen King. I think a lot of people give Stephen King flack, especially later in life. It seems like a lot of his stuff is very familiar because, like. I think I've heard, Under the Dome compared to the Simpsons movie, and Cell compared to other movies that have come out. But listen, Stephen King, he's an amazing writer. He's given us some amazing things, and his current stories are great character studies, and that's what I enjoy about it. So, I do say check this out. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys will let me know what you think. Once you do, comment below. Reach out to us on the Discord. Let's talk about it. I'd love to hear it. Guys, we are celebrating 3 years. Our 3-year anniversary is actually today, October 6th. It is 3 years since the Scene Snobs Podcast went live and we started, and Casey and I are celebrating. So if you're catching this on the day, or you're watching this weekend, the video will still be up, but we're having our Scene Snobs 3-year anniversary party show. It's tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Please join in the comments. We'd love to have you a part of it. We also have a new show of the Scene Snobs Podcast out. Go check it out. We had a really good time with it. This Saturday, we have a brand new Does It Suck? We did Metro. That's coming out, so you can check that out. All the stuff is, all our recorded stuff is available on Patreon days in advance, or on our Discord, which Does It Suck will be dropping on Discord today. And then tomorrow, we start our brand new show, the Scene Snobs Morning Drive Live Show. It's 3 hours, 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern on your drive to work. And while maybe you're hanging out at work, come listen to us, check us out, watch us. We're going to have a good old time. Real Combat Season 2 is back, so go check that out. We dropped the first episode yesterday. It's on our YouTube channel. And I'm pulling it up. All right. I want to thank our patrons. Thank you, patrons, for joining in and supporting us, helping us keep the lights on. You guys are all amazing. Tim, Paul, Stacy, Matt, Aaron, Chris S., Chris H., Dan, John B., Ron, Jason, AJ, Radar, John W. We have 3 tiers available. Plenty of perks if you guys want to join in. Check out patreon.com/thescenesnobs. We also have our Discord open. Go join the Snobs Nation Discord, where we're all hanging out. We have great moderators. We have great community of people hanging out and talking about movies and plenty of other geek stuff. So we'd love for you to join in. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe here on our YouTube channel, because we have great shows available. Every Tuesday night live is the Scene Snobs Podcast, and then it's available on all podcast platforms after. Every Friday at 7 to 10 a.m., we have the Scene Snobs Morning Drive Live Show starting tomorrow. And then it will be available on all podcast platforms after that as well, if you missed it. We also have our review show, Plot Roast, Geek Fest Live, Does It Suck, Real Combat, and more coming. We have plenty of live events coming too, like ghost hunts, hauntings, things like that. Our Halloween party is coming up, so join in. The Scene Snobs have merch. Wrap yourself up in some comfortable wear or drink from some awesome cups or mugs or pint glasses or whatever else with our logo on it or some of our funniest sayings. And then we will be making more. So please check out, keep checking back to see what new stuff is coming out. Make sure to follow us, follow Mick and Casey on all social media. We are everywhere and we do different stuff there. So you can follow us at the Scene Snobs pretty much everywhere. Or if you want to follow Casey as well, follow him, on any one of these on Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram. There are his handles. Go check that out. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for watching, listening. This has truly been amazing. We truly appreciate you. We got one more comment here. I enjoyed the short story of Mr. Harrington's. Is it Mr. Harrington in the short story? I thought it was Mr. Harrigan. It is Harrigan in the movie. I know that, but I don't know if it's different in the short story. I don't know. I thought I looked it up. I thought it was the same, but I'm unaware. But yeah, that's awesome. Go check out the movie if you liked it, because I think you will. So, all right. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to join in on our anniversary show, or again, if you're watching this at a later time, that will be available. And we will talk to you guys very, very soon. Take care.